You are about to meet Javi. Now, Javi is a beginner photographer that I have taken under my wing, and we are going to take his car editing photography skills from this to this. So what you're about to watch is a full editing breakdown workshop type of thing that I do with Javi. Every time he has a shoot, he brings them back and we review them together. I do this with him constantly, and I think it might be beneficial to you. This is the unedited edit, if that makes sense. So stick around, sit back, relax, grab a coffee. I'm pretty sure you will find a lot of gems throughout this video. All right, here we go. The first thing we're going to do is I'm gonna have Javi edit one of my photos, and I'm just gonna watch, right? And then I'm gonna edit a photo, and then he's going to watch. And then the next one, I'm going to edit it, and he is going to ask questions, and I'm going to, pretty much answer any questions that he has whenever I edit those things. And then he's going to edit again, and we're gonna see if he actually learns anything that I say at all. This is what we're starting up with. This is a photo that I shot back in Toronto. So I'm gonna let you drive, man. So right. you do you, boo-boo, and I'm just watching, man.
Okay. Oh.
Starting with the crop. Everybody you start with the crop. Oh, my bad. Let me get out your way, dog. I'm sorry.
I don't know if that looks straight. I don't know if I'm crooked or not.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. Is it me or is that crooked?
Ever so slightly. I don't know why I'm not gonna say anything, man. I'm just watching. I'm taking mental notes of everything that's going on.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Does it do it all? The whole thing?
It sure does.
It sure does.
Can you walk me through kind of what's going through your mind as you're editing? Like, you just keep going, but like if you can just kind of walk me through, like, what are you thinking? But you just tell me as you're going.
Not to mess up. But, I'm trying to just think about like what I normally do when I'm editing, like at home. Just kind of just listen to music, kind of editing. Oh,
my bad, dude. I ain't got no tunes for you, dog. I'm sorry.
But mainly like kind of bringing the car like to where like it's not bright, but still popping. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah,
that's why I just selected the car and not the whole thing.
Sweet. So what are you planning on doing with the background?
It's kind of already dark here. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I should bring it up or bring it down. Bring it up a little bit. And then for me, this looks kind of cold. Not too cold. On the temperature side, and then still want that. Did I do the right one? Nope. Just so the car can kind of pop, I'm gonna do this.
Okay, cool, sweet, do it. You driving, man? See what I did there? It's because it's a car photo.
Oh. Okay. Okay. I don't know. I think this is just a banger.
It's just, hey, man.
I think it just is.
Nice, we did it.
Right?
I'm not rushing. You do whatever, man. You take as long as you need to.
Okay.
It's not like this is unedited or anything.
Okay, I want that. Very quiet.
Editing music in the background helps a lot, dude. No. I'm telling you. If people only knew how awkward it is, and it's so quiet.
There you go.
And you just tell me, man, whenever you're ready.
All right.
Nice. Okay. High five, dude. Great job.
All right.
How do you think you did? Scale of 1 to 10. How big of a banger this edit is?
I'm gonna go 6.
I'm gonna go with 6?
Yeah.
All right, cool. All right, so now it's my turn. I'm gonna go ahead and edit this same photo, and I'm not gonna explain anything. I'm just gonna do it.
All right.
Sound good?
Yep.
All right. Here we go. What kind of vibe do I want? I'm gonna go with one of these. Sometimes I don't like using these Blood Vibes presets, man, just because like it looks too, like when it's black and white already.
Mm-hmm. It looks too.
Yeah, it just looks like. But anyway, all right, so here we go. Okay, I don't have much.
We cruising now. How are we? Where are we going?
Yeah, just straight cruising already. I don't have anything in there. All right. Time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I would say. That's what I would say.
Okay, I can kind of see it.
All right, cool. You already edited one of my photos, all right? And then I re-edited that same photo. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do is, because like you may be thinking, dude, that's already a sick photo. Like, of course it's gonna look good or whatever it was. So what I asked of Javi is taking photos himself. So I decided to ask him to take some photos, send them to me. And so and so now I'm going to edit one of his photos. So of your photos, which one would you like me to edit? So his photos are these ones right here.
It's nice, but I'm gonna go with this one.
This one right here?
Banger.
Ooh, that's a nice shot. All right, cool. So now I'm going to start editing, and please stop me as many times as you can.
Okay.
If you see something for whatever, right?
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm gonna toss on a preset.
All right.
Basically.
Then on these presets, what are you looking for specifically?
Okay, so here's the thing. So I look at this process, man, whenever it comes to editing photos, I look at it kind of like playing video games, right? So the first thing you do, right, is you connect your controller, right? And then you choose your character, Smash Brothers style, right? And then after you choose your character, then you choose, like, I would say your style, right? Like you can change your skin, right? You choose your skin. And then after that, you go in for the kill, right? And then you play the game, right? So those are the 4-step processes to basically editing any photo. And so the first thing here is connecting your controller, right? So the first thing that I do, man, is I'm adding a preset as a starting point. Nowadays, dude, there are so many free Adobe presets. Like, look at all this, man. You just go to recommended and they have tons of presets, man. Like, honestly, you don't even have to buy presets anymore. Like there's so many in here. I mean, you have my presets. I gave them to you, but but yeah, so I don't really have the time to go looking through these, but I suggest anyone go through, look for the presets that you like, save them, whatever, and then you can have yours or whatever, right? So anyway, so you're connecting your controller, the controller, right? You pick whichever one you want. You want to use the Switch controllers, you want to use the GameCube controller, whatever, right? All of them have different styles on how you play with everything. So this is what I mean by it, is it's just like, go through here. I'm just looking through the presets, man. And I'm just like trying to find what kind of vibe I like. Do I love these presets? Yes, but as you can see, they're not really doing it for me. It's too, some of these are too contrasty. The car is already dark and it's white. You know what I mean? Like the preset's not helping me right now. So I'm just going to go through right now. I'm just, that's how I'm feeling, just like, okay, see what's going on. Like, just trying to see what's up. It's like that whole thing when you go to a party and they invite you and you're like, who's going to be there? Like that. Who am I going to see? Right. Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. Is like, all right, who's going to be here, right? And I'm just kind of going through these and see what I kind of like right now. Now remember, this is just a starting point, right? So like sometimes one-click presets work and sometimes they don't. So I saw one that I kind of like. I kind of like this one. It's a little overexposed. I'll fix it, but I kind of like that. I like that orangish look. So I'm just going to go with that one. So that's the first thing. Get your preset, right? Okay. If you don't have any, look through Adobe's. Obviously, they have plenty. If you don't want to do that, you can always make your own. And so by that, I mean, like, for example, like, let's say this photo that you did, right? You made this photo. You can literally just go up to the presets, hit these 3 dots right here, and then you can say create preset. Yeah. So once you create the preset, name it, hobby 1 or whatever it is, right? And then what you can do is when you go to the next photo, you can just, your hobby 1 will be here and you just click on it.
On certain presets.
Yeah, exactly.
You like, depending on the photo.
Exactly. Or you can also copy and paste your settings, whatever, it don't matter, right? So however you want to do it, but that's what I would suggest is, you can make your own and copy it over. By the way, there's a bonus tip here for you, man. Have you ever seen, like, whenever you have like a stack, right? You have like a stack of photos, like with, like, you're on Instagram, and it's like they all are different photos, but they all kind of look the same. It's like they all have the same vibe. This is the thing here, is that, like, your edits, if you want them to look cohesive, you want to make them look like they go together, use the same preset on all of them, and exactly, and then just make your adjustments, because if not, it's gonna look kind of janky, or not janky. It's just gonna be like, that was taken one day, that was edited by a different dude. It just kind of feels that way, right? So anyway, so that's the first thing. I'm just going to go with this one. I'm going to go kind of for like an old school-ish vibe with an orangish, whatever. I'll probably change my mind halfway down. I might come back here, but that's what we're doing. Okay. So the next thing, right, after you connect your controller, is you choose your character, right? So by that, I mean, the main thing that I do, man, is I'm adjusting. Sometimes I'll be jumping through these really fast because I've done it so long, but just to keep it mainstream for you, to help you out, the next thing you do is just adjust your exposure and your, like, temperature. So we just hang out in these 2 little panels right here, right? We'll close that out. So we just hang out here. I can tell you right now that, this is, it's overexposed, right? So I'm going to, like, bring that back. Now, this is a really good thing. Do you see how, like, I brought back the highlights and I don't have anywhere else to go? Like, I can't keep going and it's gone. I always tell everyone, don't touch the exposure slider until you absolutely have to.
Okay.
So like what I'm going to do is now I'm going to bring this down more than I need to.
Okay.
So that when the time comes, I have more room to bring up the highlights. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all about doing a little bit of math, so to speak, of just kind of like, oh, okay. Because remember, the exposure is moving all that crap this way. So if you move the highlighter, if you move it all the way across and you don't have any more room, then just bring down the exposure and then you can bring it back up and just kind of balance it out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's something worth doing. This is the other thing. I already know this because I'm jumping ahead, but you see the car right here in this little area in the grill and stuff right here.
Right.
So the shadows, what I'm going to do is like, I'm not looking at that because later on, you'll see that, you know, when we choose our style and our skin, like in video games, that's what we're going to do is we're going to make masks and we're going to adjust things. Right. So I'm not looking at this, right? I'm not looking at the grill. I'm not looking at the car because I know I'm going to mask that out. I'm looking at the background, dude. I'm looking at how do I want the background
to match.
So instead of having to like do a mask for the background, it's like I'm just going to do it here and then I'll just adjust the car afterwards, as opposed to doing a car and doing the background, if that makes sense.
Separate, yeah. So
anyway, that's what I'm going to do real quick. So right now, like if this was normal, I would have these like this high, right? So that I can see the grill and everything like that. But then all this stuff, I don't really care about that stuff. So I'm literally looking at the background right now and seeing just kind of how punchy I want it to be or whatever. So. And then, like we said in the skins, I'm just going to go with the temperature. And then, like, you know, if we want to cool it down, we'll cool it down. If we want to warm it up, we'll warm it up. Actually, it was pretty fine right where it's at. What color is this car? Is it like a gray?
Yeah, it was gray.
It's like a bluish gray. Okay, cool.
Really nice car.
So anyway, yeah, so, you know, that we're at a good spot. Does that make sense? So we connected our controller. We went ahead and chose our character. And then now the next thing is we got to choose our skin. We got to choose our style, so to speak, right? So this is where like all the tools open up for you, right? Obviously you can go back through these steps, but the best thing that I would suggest right now is like, you know, you want to choose the colors that you want to pop in this photo, right? Look, I'll tell you right now, this guy's a hero, right? This car's a hero. I don't care about this Mustang, this blue Mustang back here. So I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna take out the blues. But then I'm going to lose the sky, but we'll come back to that in a second. So anyway, but I'm going to take out the blues because I don't want that car popping back there. See, like we had it right there. I don't want like the car. Yeah, I don't want, take away from what I'm looking at. Right. So I'm going to do that. And then also I'm going to bring down the exposure. Luminance is just changing the lighting of it. So I'm going to bring that down, but look, you see how it's changing like everything up there. So I don't know. I may have to mask. So I'm just going to wait on that one. But anyway, so I'm actually going to what's it called? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start masking. So I'm going to start like clicking on these right here. So I'm going to get my subject and now I'm going to kind of start getting a little bit more dialed in, bring the whites up, bonus tip here. So hit the 3 points.
That's what I was going to ask you.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
What that like exact. So I've seen that and I've seen it on like videos and TikTok and all that stuff, but I just want to know how exactly what points are for each like color or like.
Got you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. So real simple here. So when it comes to the curves, this up here, right here, this is your white. Like this is pure white.
Right, and then the other one's darkness.
And this was all dark. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Right. And so typically what everybody tells you to do is to do an S curve. So what they'll do is they'll grab this point right here and then they'll grab another random point around here and just they'll do that, right?
Right.
Cool. You can do that if you want. I kind of just do with the sliders. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm actually going to just make 3 points on these 3 axes right here. One in the middle, one at the top, right? And this is actually I learned from my boy Alex from the Car Creative. What he'll do is he'll grab the midtones and kind of like pop them up. The midtones is what kind of makes it seem, you see how it looks kind of glossy once we get there? You see how they do that glossiness from like Lexus and all that stuff? That's kind of what you're doing. Don't do this. It's going to be like, killer edit, bro. Like, no, this is too much. You know what I'm saying? Right. So like, you just kind of want to give it like a little, just maybe like a little pop, a little bit. I do want to give quick clarification here. So again, you're my mentee. So I say this with love. All right. Since we shot at high noon, like I can see the sun, there's some stuff that it makes it difficult here because like this hot spot right here, I'm kind of at the mercy of this. because it's really bright there. And I also have this bright spot right here too. Right. So, you know, that's kind of tough. We want to have like, if it's going to be all bright, we can adjust for the exposure. If it's going to be all dark, then I can bring it up, right? So that's something worth thinking about in your feature photos. But, you know, just so you know, right? When you do this in other situations, you're gonna it will do better if that makes sense. So anyway, so we're gonna do that. I'm gonna kind of cool it off a little bit, bring up a little saturation just so I can kind of see the car a little bit more. So that's cool there. And then vignettes or no, I'll come to the vignettes later. So now what I'm going to do is, let me see. So typically, man, you always want like your subject that is in focus. You want that your subject to be like the brightest part of the image. Put that in quotes, right? You typically want it to be the brightest part of the image. That's like, it's not always the case, but it's a good rule of thumb. So whenever you mask everything out, you always want to make sure that like when you mask it, like we go over here, we make a mask for this car. The best thing to do is like, you know, hey, like we'll raise the shadows or whatever, just so you see, like, just so it pops a little bit, right? It just depends kind of what you want to do. This is another thing that I do all the time is I go down here, man, the clarity, not a ton, maybe like anywhere from 10 to 15, maybe even less sometimes. It just depends kind of what the image is. But like you see like the clarity just kind of just gives it like, makes it really pop, right? Don't ever do this. Don't ever start at the top and be like, whoa, that looks sick. No, dude, that looks like not Malibu's Wanted. Need for Speed Most Wanted. Yeah, it sure does.
And I've done that.
So like always start here and real subtle. So what this is how I do it. I'll bring it up until I can actually see a difference, right? So bring it up until I see a difference. Okay, now I see it. I'm gonna dial it back from there. And that's how you can take care of your edits so that they're not, I might still be a little much, but that's how you take care of your edits so that they don't look like Need for Speed Most Wanted, right? So there's that. I'm trying to give it a little saturation, little something there. And then, so then the next thing I'm going to do now is I always just suggest doing that to the car. Make it a little bit brighter, add a little bit of clarity with the highlights, you know, you just figure it out, you know, kind of what you want to do, but just make sure that like that the background isn't more important. So like you don't want it to look like this. Like if you do it wrong, it could look like this. Right. So you see how like it makes a difference. Like everything else is it's brighter outside and now it's popping, but not in a good way. Right. So that's the whole thing that we gotta watch out for. But now, so basically connect your controller, choose your character, pick your skin, or choose your style. This is where you do all the tweaks, and then now you go for the kill. This is literally the finishing touch I do to every single photo. You go down to your vignette. I already have it built in, but like vignettes, man, bro, they just make anything look sick, right? But here's my secret. If you go right here where it says highlights and feather, I always have this stuff up, right? So I'll show you what it is. So the highlights, you see, just look at the corner. Look at the corner right here, and then look at when I pull up the highlights. You see how like the vignette, like you don't want it to make it look fake, right? That looks fake. Like what the heck, right? You want to make it look like it's
fanned out,
kind of fanned out like natural, right? So then bring in the highlights and just look at this corner right here, right? And as I bring up that highlighter, you see how like we can see the speckles now. It's kind of like almost translucent, right? So there's that. Next thing, the reason why I have the feather always up is because
it kind of just makes
it just blends it. You see how it comes out? Adds so much texture. You don't want it to look. Nobody want to see that, dude. That's just a circle, dog. Right? So, you know, you start bringing it down. I always just bring it all the way up because I like my stuff really big and feathered. And so, does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, same thing here, right? Always do this. When you got your vignettes or with any effect type of thing, when you're in this tab, go until you see it, until it's very noticeable, and then dial it back. That's what I always suggest. Because you're staring at this so often, your eyes kind of deceive you, right?
No, I get it.
So,
100%.
And then I'm gonna crop it now. I typically do this at the end or at the beginning. I mean, you just do it whenever. But I always do this. And I would just hit the auto button. It typically does a really good job of just kind of like lining it up. So here's real important, man. I saw this when you did this earlier. We're actually gonna go back to your photo real quick. So check this out.
I saw it too.
All right, so you see, this is my edit, and this is, I'm specifically look at the crop, like the crop. And then I look at yours. What do you see? I'll wait for you. You tell me.
Okay. It's zoomed a little out, obviously, like it's cropped out. And then obviously I think it looks a little crooked.
It looks a little crooked?
A little crooked, yes.
Okay, I can see that too. And what else are you seeing? So that's yours. In comparison to mine. What are you seeing?
Like on the crop side of it?
Just on the crop. Yeah. Just on the crop.
Yeah, it looks crooked and then it just doesn't look natural.
Doesn't look natural. Okay, cool. I'm going to give you one more thing, right? So, again, I'm kind of going high level detail here, but I'm turning you into a mini me. So like we got to get there. So check this out. This guy is in the photo. And so either he's part of the photo or he's not, right? If you notice here on mine, look at how I gave him just a little bit more room, like he's supposed to be here. This is kind of like, look how far we're looking out. It's like, oh wait, he is there. But I thought it kind of felt like it was like this. When you're looking at it from a distance, it kind of looks like this. It kind of looks like we're cutting him off, right? Okay, so that's the other thing, is to look at everything. So first, whenever it comes to the crops, yes, line it up. Yes, you can zoom out, zoom in. That's your call, right? Mm-hmm. But always look at what you're cutting off and if it's important or not, right? So let's make a decision right now. Is he a part of the photo or is he not part of the photo?
He is.
He is. Okay. So if he's part of the photo, let's give him some more breathing room, right? So let's give him some space, right? So now he's in the photo and he's part of it, okay? Next thing, you see our grid lines that are here, right? Mm-hmm. What we want to do is, like, I'm always looking at it this way. We want the stuff that's up here in comparison to what's down here. We want that to be as symmetrical as possible, right? So oftentimes, if we were to take like our finger, right, and we're to measure right here from this edge to this edge, we want that there to be the same amount over here, right?
Okay.
So look, this is taking about like half a block right here from the edge of the car to the edge. You see how it's taking up like half of a square, right? And then over here, that's taking up. I'll bring it up so you can see. See, you see the line right here?
It's like almost a full square.
It's almost a full square, right? So what are we gonna do? That means that we gotta like shrink that. So we'll just grab this. Hang on. Let me go back to kind of where we're at. And we're just going to grab this and just kind of bring it in a little bit. Now, if you don't have enough room in the photo, you can always change your aspect ratio. So watch this. You can always go 4:5. And now we have like you can start playing with the crop to where like you can figure out what works. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Does that make sense? So as you're switching through. So anyway, but I want to go back to what you did. You left it at 2:3. And so anyway, so what I'm going to do is he's in the photo, right? And we just want to make everything equal. So we made the sides equal, right? We're relatively close, right? So look, about 1/2 to 3/4, and that's about 1/2 to 3/4. Mm-hmm. So we're looking at it from the edge of the tire to the edge of the crop, from the edge of the car to the edge of the crop.
Seems about right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Next thing, right? We want to make it even on the top and on the bottom, right? So if you want to do this would look kind of awkward if I'm being honest. Unless we're putting like text down here, right? But like this looks awkward, right?
Right.
That's just not where your eyes are used to looking at, right? And then if we do this, I think that looks okay. But I feel like it's a little low. So what you want to do is like you want to measure out as well. So what I'm looking at is the edge of the top of the car to the top of this square and the edge of the bottom of the car to the bottom of this square. And I want those to be equal as well. So that's kind of what I'm looking at, right? When you do that, if you shot well, it will work every time. But the other thing to keep in mind is this. So we know that he's in the photo, right? Mm-hmm. We want to look at what we're cutting off. You see this? We already cut it off with, this is like the parking garage. Mm-hmm. But we wouldn't want to cut off the tree like that.
Right.
So look at the tree. Like, it's like, wait, is there more tree? Maybe there is, maybe there's not, right? But we give it some room, right? Does that make sense? So like this is why composition is so important, dude. Like when you're actually taking the photos, because when you're actually taking the photos, you can start looking at these things. I know it's hard on that little screen, but you start looking like, okay, am I cutting off anything? Am I cutting him off, right? Like maybe when you took the photo, maybe you were like this, right? So anyway, that's what I would suggest. That's a big little section on cropping. And then like, honestly, I always just use the auto button, man. Like that's just, it's kind of my way to go.
Yeah, you kind of see me play with it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's what I would suggest, if that makes sense. But anyway, so back to this edit. You can crop however you want to crop, and you figure it out.
That kind of looks like the way I finished it. whenever I posted it.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Can I pull it up?
Oh, pull it up. Let's see it.
Let me see. I don't remember specifically, but it might be.
So right now, like what I'm doing whenever it comes to the crop, like I'm cropping, same thing, same rules apply as before. Mm-hmm. I like that we have this leading line right here that's kind of talking to us right here. And then
somewhat. Yeah.
Not bad.
Yours is a little warmer than
It's mine. A little warmer, yeah, but it looks good. But again, that's all like whatever you want to do, right? Okay, this one, it's too high. It's too high. We need to bring it up. I need to bring that up like that. Still a little low. You want to give what they call headroom to cars and to people, to heads. Just give them a little headroom or whatever. Anyway, I think that's pretty decent. If I was to actually take a lot of time on this thing, man, I would actually start brushing in here. Mm-hmm. I would start brushing in here, and just because I want to see the grill. So what I would do is like I'd probably like bring up the shadows, but like I don't want, maybe the highlights too. I don't want to bring up everything on that car up. I actually have to paint it out, right? And then I can add like some texture just so we can be like, oh, it's going to make it seem sharper when you add clarity and texture. Mm-hmm. So like I'd probably do something like that, start adding to that. And then you can also do the same to the car. But again, like I said, man, because we have the highlights, because the sun was directly on top, you see this right here?
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm kind of limited to
what you can do,
what I can do with adjusting it, because if I wanted to, man, if I really wanted to, I would have like made this a little bit brighter too. But as I bring it up higher and bring up the shadows lower, does it make it pop more? Yeah, but the whites are just, they're yelling at me, right? So we're kind of limited there. So again, I go back to the whole thing of like, can edits save you? Yeah, they can. But, it's just one of those. Extent, right? Yeah, to a certain extent.
This was shot like at midday.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't remember what time it was.
Exactly. So I'm going to be honest. Me personally, I'm not too happy with this edit. Like there's often times, man, where I will pick a photo and I'll edit it. And if I don't like this would be one of those photos that I edited it and I didn't like it. And I would just wouldn't post this. I wouldn't put this up. You know what I mean? But that's just me. Right. Mm-hmm. So, don't be scared to, ditch your edits. So, but anyway, not bad. The other thing is, this is just a random thing here. If you ever have something that's like overexposed or something like that, let's just literally put it in black and white and then fix it. And then it's going to look amazing. Black and white, dude. If you ever see a person edit something in black and white, it's probably because the photo sucked. But if you put anything in black and white, it looks good. That's actually something I do too. So like, if you see a black and white picture of me, like, that photo sucked, didn't it? That photo sucked, didn't it? Just be like, yeah, it sure did. But yeah, you can always do that, man. Going black and white, and you can, it'll save pretty much any photo. But anyway, so worth thinking about. Okay, so if I was to ditch the metaphor, so whenever it comes to the process, the first thing to do is always add a preset, and across all your edits that you want them to look some kind of way, get a preset for your starting point, right? Okay. The next thing is to adjust your exposure and your temperature. Let's just get those dialed in, because sometimes you can click a preset and it'll be like blue as can be, and you're like, what the heck, man, this sucks. No, grab the temperature slider, move it a little bit or whatever it may be, and then you're set, right? And then the exposure, just kind of adjust it, but adjust more for the background, because we're going to mask the car eventually anyway, especially now that you just do it one click, select the subject, you're set to go, right? So there's that. And then the next thing, this is where all the tools open up for you, right? This is where you start like masking. You can add saturation. What colors do you want to pop? What are colors in the background that, like the car in the background, like I don't want to see that, right? And this is also where you can take people out. Like, for example, like this photo here,
little kid.
Like that kid that's back there. Mm-hmm. I'm just going to click something here. Oh, this is a good example, right? So like, it's not a good edit, just a good example. But like, you see how it's like all blue and he's orange? Those are on opposite sides of like the color wheel. Mm-hmm. So like he stands out really hard. So like if it was up to me, like, I would actually just just paint him out is what I would do. We're just using generative fill. It's built into Lightroom now, which is really nice. Bam.
Oh, wow.
You know what I'm saying? He said, oh, wow. So yeah, does that make sense? So like, that's what I would do. Cause like he's really noticeable. Right. But we have a lot of good tools now. So anyway, so this is where you do all the stuff, you mask it, make sure to bring up the subject a little bit brighter, adjust, take out any colors that you don't like, take out people, all that stuff. And then you go for the kill, which is adding a little bit of clarity, your vignette, you know, and, you know, even your crop if you need to like adjust it or whatever. I have a really good example. It's not a car one, but I do want to show you this because it's a really good. I posted this not too long ago on my Instagram. Okay. And this photo, you're going to be surprised at, you're like, what the heck? I took that photo? And I'll be like, yeah, I guess I did take that photo. This is what I mean whenever the crop can really save you. A crop can save a really bad photo. Dang, bro, where is this? Okay, here we go. Okay. Are you ready to be amazed, Javi?
Yes.
Prepare to be amazed. Okay. All right. Nice photo, right?
Beautiful.
It's cool.
I seen it, yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
You ready to see this crop? This is the photo, original, bro. That's the photo.
That's crazy.
So like this is good whenever I say like to like make sure that all your like everything is in focus and everything's good, but like you can save a photo. Like this photo looks good or whatever, but like just like whoa, that looks sick, right? So going back to our hey Echo, chill out, dude. So going back to like let's say like maybe like this photo. Or actually let's go to this one. Let's go to like this photo, right? Let's say there was just too much junk everywhere we didn't like it or whatever. Like you can actually get pretty crazy. You can get pretty crazy with like your crops especially if you have like a good, like decent sized camera. And then like you can do something like this and no one will be the wiser.
That is insane, dude.
So like that's like a really big secret that I just stumbled upon is that like you can punch in on things. Obviously it depends on your camera, right? Like you have to have a decent camera to do this. Like not all photos that you have you'll be able to save it like this, but you know, you can save it, man. I didn't even try. And like look at how it looks. Like it just this could be a poster, bro. Like you just made a poster. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So something worth thinking about. That's how you go in for the kill, man. Your crop can save you, vignette, clarity, all that kind of crap. So anyway, so here's what we're going to do now. All right. So what we're going to do is
Am I gonna edit my photo?
You're going to edit one of your photos, all right? And I'm going to ask you questions and kind of guide you through. Or actually, no. Let's do this. I want you to edit one of my photos. You're going to edit this one. You're going to edit this photo. All right? So you go and drive. I will move over out of your way.
I'm driving now. Let's go.
All right. You go ahead and drive, and I'm going to walk you through that process that we have that should be able to help you out, okay?
Okay.
All right. So what's the first thing we do, man?
You're looking at the presets.
Let's look at the presets. Go ahead. So, you know, if you don't have any, you can look at the recommended and stuff, but like feel free. Those blood vibe presets of mine, dude, those things, they go so hard, man, especially on photos like this. So,
Try to see.
Your call. You are in the driver's seat.
I'm driving a boat.
It's a car.
So these yours too?
Yeah, man, those are my V2 pack. Link potentially in the description. Yeah, so those are mine too, man. I mean, I have plenty in there. I even have like experimental stuff in there that's kind of wild as well. Dude, that pink one actually looked kind of hot too.
That's what I'm saying. These two, I don't know.
Yeah, so like, and this is what I'm saying, man, is that like, you know, this is where you connect your controller, right? This is where you pick kind of what you're going for, how you're feeling that day, right? So like, if you went with that pink one, we would have like, it's like a nice soft vibe. It's kind of like
vintage, kind of
vintagey anime, like real soft, like, you know. So like, but if that's not what you're going for, then pick a blood vibes preset, you know, that has popping oranges and yellows and reds, you know, like, you know, that'd be dope. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because these two. You know what? I'm gonna go with the pink.
All right, do it.
Feeling like the pink. Okay.
All right. So now that we have a preset as our starting point, the next thing we do is we got to go ahead and choose our character, right? So the main thing is just, hey, let's adjust our temperature and adjust our exposure, and let's just get something just halfway decent dialed in. You know what I mean?
Right.
And as you can see, sometimes, man, when you shoot properly or exposed, you see like there's not much to do, but you know, your call. So
right, like I said on the other photo, that there's really not much you have to do.
Right, exactly. So I'm going to give you some coaching here. I wouldn't touch the contrast just yet, because remember, your highlights and your shadows, when you move those, it's literally just adding contrast. So if these are your highlights and these are your shadows, when you do this, you're creating contrasts. That's what you're doing. Like literally doing this with highlights and shadows is the same thing as just moving the contrast slider. Like that's what it's doing, right?
So like whenever I was like editing, like when I first started, like my whole thing, like I would literally say this is what I would do.
Yeah, go ahead. Really?
Or I would adjust it because I mean that doesn't look good.
Yeah, but that's what you would do.
That's what I would do, because in my head I was like, oh, that looks kind of good, and that's what I seen. I was like, yeah, when a photo to look like that, just do this.
Yeah, exactly. So it's interesting, man, because like that's like a style. So like you can totally do the high contrasty style or whatever that looks good. Personally, you'll see, man, whenever you see like more experienced photographers, and I started doing this as well. I just want to let you guys know that. You start noticing that like edits start to become like a little bit more subtle. And like a little bit more like they're not as like poppy or in your face. They're just a little bit more subtle, and it just kind of shows like the expertise of the editor, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, for this one, what I would suggest is if we're going now, remember we're thinking about that vibe, right? Why did we pick this pink one, right? We wanted that retro-y kind of chill vibe, so maybe we don't want it as contrasty, right? So yeah, I mean, just look at what you want. Remember, we're kind of exposing for kind of the background here. We're not so much exposing for the car because we know we can bring the car back. Right. So look at that background, and you show what you want to show in that background. Oh, you can hit slash, by the way, if you want to go back and forth. You see this one right here?
Ah.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah, dude.
Because you said nothing to that. Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting that you said that, because you're like, this is what I used to do. It's good for you to, while you're doing this here, remember, this isn't the finished product. Like what we're doing right now, this is just, let's just get it close to where I can see it. Let me just bring up the shadows because I couldn't see what that person was wearing. Let me bring it up because I couldn't see the tires, right? Like we just want to get to like this is like just dialing in a little bit more, right? So what we're doing throughout these edits and these processes, it's like we have all these ideas of what we want to do, and then it's like, okay, we got a preset. Oh, okay, then we like expose properly. Okay, then we adjust the temperature. And then that's how we start, finding our edit as we get there. So anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Should I do the
don't mess with it too much. So I just let me just mention this to you guys. So whenever it comes to like working with curves is actually like a lot easier. It's literally the same thing as we're using up top, but the main difference is that when you're using curves, the transition from shadows to highlights and stuff like that is going to be a lot smoother, because there's like a whole roll, it goes into it a lot smoother, right? When you're doing shadows and blacks and all that stuff over there, what you're doing is it's not doing a curve. It's just doing like a sharp line, sharp changes, right? When it comes to photos, there's a lot more, there's a lot more play. In video, I suggest editing with curves, right? But I think that it's up to you, man, because they all do the same thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't mess with it. I typically mess with that only whenever I'm doing like making the car look a little glossy. That's typically how I always use it.
Okay.
So yeah, so if you want, yeah, there you go. Look at that, man. If you want to make it more pinkish, like yeah, dude, pull that slider back. It's like ooh, it really feels like what's it called? Feels really
retro-y.
No, what's it called? It's like a sunset in California or something, you know what
purple,
I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, kind of that purple.
Nice. Okay, that's kind of good.
And that's good what you're doing, man. Like I'll often do that, especially with like the colors. Like when I'm picking colors at the bottom, I'll often just like pull that mess all the way over, just to see what it'll look like, just to see, it's good to do that.
So I want purple and orange.
You want purple and orange? Okay.
Yes.
I actually have a preset that kind of meets that, but yeah, go ahead.
Because if I get rid of the blue, that gets rid of most of the purple.
Yeah, that's good to know, man. So we want purple and orange. All right.
So I think I'm just going to do this first.
There you go. Yeah, pull up those oranges. And here's a secret too, man. What I do is like on the oranges, you can saturate it, but like grab that luminance, the one that's under it. Now mess with that for a second. Go ahead. Go crazy with it. Pull it up. You see what it's doing?
Oh, it's
So like a lot of times, man, people think that, oh, the orange is not popping enough, it's not bright enough, and so they jack up the saturation. It's like, no. It just needs more brightness. Sometimes it needs that luminance, right?
Because that's exposure. Basically.
Yeah, it's exposure, exactly. So you're bringing it up, right? So it's like a bright orange is more powerful than a dark orange, even if they're the same saturation. You know what I mean? So, that's something worth thinking about.
I like that.
Yeah, dude. I think that looks good so far. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no green in that. There's no green in that photo. No aqua either. That's really good, man. What you're doing, like I would do this all the time. Every color, and I'm just like, okay, what is each one of these doing?
Right.
Yeah. Remember, we're kind of getting a baseline. Don't look too much at the car. Because remember, we can fix that afterwards, right? Let's just make sure that the whole photo looks kind of where you're at. Kind of save yourself some time instead of having to do like multiple masks and multiple layers of things.
Okay. And that was it, right? For this?
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, man, exactly. And so like, I say let's start masking up. So we pick our subject and there we go.
All right. And then so I think I want to make this
Okay, this is a really good teaching moment. All right. Those blacks, man.
I'm going to go to white.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Dang it, you messed up my point. So this is something that I learned from like tattoo artists when I was watching like Ink Master. And one of the things that they would say all the time is that like a lot of times the tattoo artists would always want to color their tattoos more and more and like color it, and then it starts becoming like it starts looking bad. And then what the masters would always say is like, no, the secret to it is having really deep blacks, because if you have a nice really deep black, everything else is going to look so much brighter, right? If you have a page of white, it all looks white. But if you have a page of black and then one solid white dot in the middle, that's going to look like, really, whoa, that's going to stand out, right? Because the blacks are so deep and so tight. So that's what I would suggest in photos too, man. The blacks, unless I absolutely have to, I will never mess with those blacks. I want those to I'll even crunch them a little bit, like maybe like -5, -7, because then now grab the shadows to bring them up. So, or yeah, go ahead. So there you go. So let's look at the tires. Just punch into the tires. Okay, let's just hang out right there. Okay, so pull down your blacks, right? Let's pull them down a little bit. Let's just see what they're doing. Okay, you see it? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go. Let's just get like a nice deep black. We don't want to make it disappear, but go ahead and bring it back up. Keep going, or take it to 0, and then we'll dial it. All right, just keep going, or go back down the other way. Sorry. There you go. Keep it going. Keep it going. Right there. All right. Now let's bring up the shadow so we can see those things. So bring it up. All right. A little bit less. So right. Keep it going, and stop right there for now. Now this is just an example because we're so tight in, but that looks significantly different than if you raise the blacks. Now just raise the blacks now. Or no, the other way. Now just raise the blacks. You see, like you just lose all your definition, everything like that. If you look at this, the curves,
right? Because I've seen what this is like. The further it is that way is black, and the further it's white.
Exactly. So if you do this, so check this out. So this is a really good example, and you guys can do this at home as well, so you can see it. When you have this black and you start bringing it up, or if you have this black and you start bringing it up, you're losing all the detail, right? Right. We bring this up, and it's like, what the heck, man? What's going on with my pictures, right? But if you grab the shadows, which is like in this area, and you bring that up. You see, like we still have that dark black to ground us in reality of like, oh, okay, cool. My eyes know what black are, if that makes sense, right? So that's what I would suggest. So like if it was me, I'm gonna zoom out a little bit just so I can see it. Watch this. We don't want it to look washed out. We don't want it to look like that, right?
Right.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bring those blacks in just to give it that nice kind of pop. You see how like the blacks look really solid now?
Right.
And then like we can kind of bring our shadows up a little bit depending on where we're at, right? And what we want it to look like. And then you can keep going. So right. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
And so what are you thinking about right now? Or are you just messing with it?
So the car has 2 of a purple tint.
Yeah, you don't want it purple?
No, I want the car to be like, I want it to pop.
You want to make it look like it's normal.
Right.
Like, okay, cool. So perfect. So this is worth thinking about, like having like color wheels, like if you need to look it up on Google. So like I think we should do that right now. So like we'll look at a color wheel. When it comes to your temperature and stuff, what you want to be looking at is what is on the opposite side to add to it. So let's just go into this one here. Okay. If we look at this, so you said it was too, what about the color? What'd you say?
Too purple.
It's too purple, right? So if it's too purple, we need to add yellow. We need to add yellow to it, right? So if we're going to add yellow to this, we need to do it here, right? So this is the car, right? We're selected on the car. And because we're selected on the car, now let's go over here. If it's too purple, let's add like some yellow into it. But you see how it's making it more orange, right? So what I would suggest is going into the greens over here. Let's dial this back real quick. You can go into the greens and you can neutralize it. Does that make sense? So this is where you play with it, man, to really, you see how like that's looking like real white, but you don't want to make it look like it doesn't belong. Yeah, exactly, photo, right? Exactly. So there you go. Start messing with those. That's how you take those colors out.
It's visual art, isn't it?
Say again?
It's visual art.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm taking art right now too. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, smart guy. But yeah, I like where your head is going. Like, we're just like, I want to neutralize the car.
Okay.
Fun fact, though, the clarity and the texture, they kind of work together. Texture's a little hot right now. Maybe, oh, what the heck? Okay. Yeah, dial back the texture, and then you can start messing with it.
It's like moving.
Oh, I need a new mouse. Sorry. So this is up to each person. I feel it's a little too clarity and too textury for me, for the car. I feel like it's a little too much, but you know, it's up to you. The reason why I say that just because the vibe that we're going for was kind of like a soft pinkish, right? So like, does that make sense? Like you're kind of trying to like, you want, as you keep going down this funnel of like all your things, you kind of want them to all just be pointing in the right direction. But yeah. So like one of my tricks that I always do, I'll always do just like the opposite. So sometimes I'll bring the texture down, like you said, make it softer. And then the clarity, just give it that little punch of contrast that we just lost, right? There you go. See how it looks kind of more smoother, but it's still popping? That's kind of one of those things that I do all the time.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't look as...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think on the car we're good.
Yeah, for sure. That's fine, man.
Okay, and then...
You the boss.
I'm going to go back to the background.
There you go. This is good. So as you can see, like, you know, you can do this filtration process. Like if this is the photo, right? And it's like full of mud and, you know, it's fossilized in there or something, then you got to filter it out, right? And it goes through these different processes. You can always start from the beginning and just like kind of put it down. Maybe not from the beginning with a different preset, but you can always like keep going through these steps, you know, continuously. But this process that I told you is just to kind of have it in your mind so you can know what to do. So. Nice. There you go. Like subtle is good, man. Like subtle touches is good.
Right there. And then...
And I think did you crop it already or?
No, not yet.
Okay, cool. There you go. Nice. Hit that auto button. So good. And you can pick whatever you want. You know, typically Instagram is like 4x5. Mm-hmm. I tend to do that just because it gives you a lot of room too, but you know, however you want to do it.
That's already like straight, right?
Okay, so it is, but remember, it only does so much. It is kind of on a hill, so it can look
a little tilted.
Yeah, but I mean, that still looks fine. I don't think anybody's tripping about it. There you go. That vignette, bro, that's a finishing touch. So I always suggest, you know, pull it all the way down until you see it, and it's just like, okay, let's dial it back. And then you kind of pick your sweet spot, if that makes sense. So, yeah. Nice. How do you feel?
I feel pretty good.
What score do we give this one?
I'll give it a 7.58.
Yeah, dude. I think it's really good. Great job. If I was to give any kind of feedback, or just to elevate this to just ever so slightly to the next level, you said you wanted orange, right? So if
I thought about using the brush. I forgot there's a brush, isn't there not?
Yeah, there is. What I was gonna do is what I would do here is I would actually select the sky, and just once it picks that, I would kind of bring down the highlights in there just so I can bring back. You see how there's crap back there?
Oh yeah.
And maybe some shadows, right? Bring those. You see, I just jacked all those things down. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm even gonna make this more orange. Maybe let's see. That's yellowish, and let's just bring this add some red into it. You know what I'm saying? So now we're kind of sandwiching. We got our nice purple down here. We got some purple and orange in the back. So now it's this is all coming. It's kind of coming together, and our car is it's popping right in front of us, right? So that's something there. The only other thing I would suggest if I was to adjust this would be right here, the highlights.
Yeah, it was a little bright.
You see, it's a little bright,
right? A
little
bright, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe let's bring down those highlights ever so slightly. Yeah, there you go. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't take much. So this was our before.
Oh wow,
that's a sick edit, dude.
That's pretty.
You freaking killed it, dude. That's great. But anyway, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching. I will link Javi's stuff in the description if you want to check him out and see his process as he grows as my mentee. And also, if you're interested in any of the presets that we use today, all those are on my website. Dude, should we give it for free? Should we give a discount? What should we do?
For free, I guess. Yeah.
Free?
Yeah.
For how many hours?
16.
It is free for the next 16 hours. So if you guys are watching right now within the first 16 hours, it is free. Put that code in there. It is for free. And then if not, you guys can go and check it out at livecreatively.net. But anyway, that is it. I'll catch you guys in the next one.